everybody, welcome back to Gideon's Stuff. Today we're taking a look at the Sencut Serene, a very, very cool budget knife from Sencut. This is my second attempt at filming today. It's a Saturday afternoon, but I spent the morning working cows and I'm exhausted. And the first take of this video was absolutely awful. So let's hope I can keep it together a little bit better for this one. And let's get started with our blade length measurement. Get our ruler out here. Measuring our sharpened edge, we're coming in just a little bit over 3.5 inches. Get that on screen, Gideon. Just a little over 3.5 inches. If we measure the blade all the way down to the troil, we're coming in about 3.75. But if we measure to the closest spot on the handle, we are coming in pretty much 3.5 inches exactly. So definitely a full-size knife. I love seeing that. We definitely need more knives of this size going around. I feel like we've had a lot of small knives recently. I'm not the first person to say that, but I do agree with it. Alrighty, here are our size comparisons. The Ontario Wrap 1 and the 2, of course. Again, this is definitely a full-size knife. Very, very good size, in my opinion. Alrighty, let's get these guys out of the way. Let's go ahead and bring out our Civivis. You know, kind of the sister company to Sencut. Here's our Praxis, and look at that. What a stunning pair. Blue and satin. I love it. And here's the Elementum. There we go. Alrighty, let's go ahead and bring out our USA made size comparisons. Starting with the Bug Out. And here's the PM2. Oh, look at that. There's a lot of blue on the table, and I love it. I love it. Okay, let's close out size comparisons with some comparisons to some other Sencuts. Here is one of my favorite Sencuts, the Tainan. And here's another one of my favorites, the Episode. So yeah, definitely a full-size knife about the same size as the Episode, a little bit bigger even. Alright, and actually before we end size comparisons, let's compare it against another very popular budget button lock. The CJRB Pyrite, Warney version in this case. And it is, quite a bit bigger. So if you're looking for a full-size button lock, this might be where you want to go. Materials on this guy, we have a satin finish drop point D2 blade, very classic blade shape. And we have these absolutely gorgeous blue aluminum scales. There are other versions, we'll talk about that later. Steel pocket clip, and of course is a button lock running on bearings. Flipper and thumb stud opener. Let's go ahead, go to the cutting footage, and a little bit of an adventure that I'll throw in the middle of this video, so hopefully you guys enjoy that. So I'm at work right now, and I'm carrying a knife that I typically wouldn't carry to work. The Sencut Serene, and there's a couple reasons this is not what I typically want for a folding knife at work. Number one, it's a button lock on bearings. Those tend to get gummed up very easily on me. You know, I get very dirty out here. There's lots of dust and grime and stuff. The other thing is it's an uncoated D2 blade. I sweat a lot out here when this is in my pocket. It's being exposed to sweat. I'm, you know, cutting wet things out here. I might be working the river or things like that. So, you know, rusting my D2 is definitely a concern. The other thing is it's just a beautiful looking knife that I kind of don't want to mess up these gorgeous blue aluminum scales. So why am I carrying it? Because it's just so damn good. Every morning I wake up and I think I should grab a different knife because of all those reasons I just listed. I don't want to mess this thing up. But it still ends up in my pocket because it's just so dang good. And that's a testament to this knife, honestly. It really is. Alright, back to stretch and fence. So I decided to go walking down this little road that I'd never been down before. Very old road. You can't really tell it's a road anymore. However, I'm seeing lots of cut trees. Which, and these are old stumps, means either they're doing a logging operation here, which I don't think so. It's not extensive enough. Or there's a cabin nearby. And we're going to find it. Well, this is where the road ends. This little clearing. Honestly, this would be a pretty good place for a cabin, but I don't see any evidence of one. Maybe I need to look harder. Or perhaps it was just a clearing operation. Still, I find it weird. Actually, I think the road continues this way. I'm running out of daylight. Do I want to follow this or not? I also found some really nice rocks in here. There's a metarrhyolite out here, a lot of metamorphic rocks. And I found this stuff, which at first I thought was a metaconglomerate, but I don't think it is. From far away, that's what I thought it was, but look at those micas. And then I grabbed this chunk here. Unfortunately, I don't have my rock hammer with me. I have my hand lens, but don't have my rock hammer, which is stupid. I feel naked without it, but I followed that road for quite a ways up to the top of this little peak, and I didn't find a cabin or anything. But look at this view. Oh, this isn't doing it justice. Not by a long shot. Holy cow, look how gorgeous this is. Got all this quartz around here. And then we have this. Look at that beautiful, beautiful folding in there. Got a quartz vein cutting across it. Oh my gosh, there's the hinge right there. Holy cow. It's absolutely amazing. I wonder if that road was leading up to a mine up here. You know, those old-time prospectors are really good at finding faults and alteration in rocks, both of which are signs of secondary mineralization, which can give you some economic minerals. So maybe there's a mine up here. Gosh, that's gorgeous. Okay, this is really awesome. And of course the camera's not picking it up the way it should. Oh my gosh. But I know exactly where I am. See that little cabin down there? That is on the ranch that I work for. Oh my gosh. Oh man. I need to get back to my truck. I really don't want to. With heavy heart, I return to my truck. It's gonna be a long walk. I did want to do the review cutting for the Sencut Serene today. What a perfect day to do review cutting for the Serene, honestly. Let's see if I can get back there before the sun sets, get some review cutting done, because honestly, that the name of that knife just fits this theme way too perfectly. We made it back before the sunset. Had to do a little bit of jogging. Gotta take a minute to catch my breath, but whew. Let's get her done. Alrighty, it has been an eventful evening. It's about 8:20 now, so we're gonna lose light pretty quick. Let's go ahead and do the review cutting for the Sencut Serene, which has sweat on it because I just ran down a mountain with it in my pockets. All right. You know, I don't know if I'm just getting really good at doing knife reviews or lazy, or if I've just figured out what I like. Because, as you guys know, the way my channel works is I carry a knife and stuff until I'm ready to review it. And at some point during the time of carrying it, I do what I'm doing right now, the review cutting. This is not testing. This is just for you guys to get a demonstration of what the blade does, right? The testing I do is just carrying it day to day and using it as I would use any other knife. So sometimes some knives I'm ready to review really quickly. Other knives takes me a while. This knife and the two other knives I unboxed with it, the Kaiser Genie and the Kaiser Towser K, I unboxed these almost 2 weeks ago. And I'm already ready to review them. I feel like I've made up my mind. I've been carrying them around and stuff, and I'm already ready for the reviews. I will say, this is the knife that I like the most out of all those knives I unboxed. And this knife has not left my pocket very often since I've gotten it. And I really like it. Got a pack of coyotes, or maybe wolves. We've got wolves in here too. It might be wolves. Sound like coyotes. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about this knife. First of all, let's just appreciate how beautiful it is. Look at that. It's fantastic. And yes, my satin finish is all smudged up and scratched now because, again, I've been carrying it, using it. I will say, the blue aluminum has held up really nicely. It has not scratched hardly at all. And what was this? Wednesday, I actually took this to work with me, and I had to cut something. I pulled it out of my pocket, and I accidentally let go of it because I kept my gloves on, and it went flying. And I thought for sure I was going to have gouges and stuff on here. Nothing. I've got a couple of little marks and snail trail, like just very minor ones though. Like there's hardly anything. So maybe it's resistant, or maybe I just haven't been that tough on the handle. Again, it's only been, 2 weeks, so plenty of time for that to change. Anyways, let's go ahead and talk about the action. It is a button lock. You guys know I'm not the biggest fan of button locks. But this knife does it right. Drop shut. The flipper is... So when I first got this, I was like really putting a lot of effort into deploying it, into making that flipper flip, because most button lock flippers, you got to give them a little more oomph than a knife with a traditional detent. However, one day I'm sitting and I'm like, what if I just try? What if I just flip it with normal pressure? It still flips. It feels like it has a detent. Also, the flipper tab's incredibly jimping, incredibly jimpy or grippy, something like that, which means it grabs onto you and you get, good leverage on it. It's a well-shaped flipper tab. It's positioned very nicely. The flipping action is amazing. Thumb studs work great as well. Very nice, comfortable thumb studs. Completely drop shot on that button. It's a very nice action. Very, very nice. I do not think it's quite as nice as the, CJRB Pyrite, but it's really dang close. Really, really dang close. Yeah, ergonomics, really nice. Look, this knife is pretty neutral in the handle. In fact, this knife is pretty neutral as a design in general. It's a very knifey looking knife, but it feels good in hand. They have good jimping up here. I'm glad to see Sencut / Civivi doing proper jimping these days. The clip doesn't bother me. It sits in a good spot. You've got plenty of room on this handle no matter what size your hands are. This is a full-size knife. I love that. I love seeing that. Yeah, the ergonomics are great. The aluminum, it's got a good thickness to it. It's handled so well. You got these chamfers along the edges. It's very soft in hand. It doesn't have that like chalky feel that some aluminum has. It just feels good. It feels really, really good. I can't complain. Okay, how does it carry? Well, it has Sencut standard clip, the long one. They have a short clip and a long clip. It's not a bad clip. I like this clip. It's okay. Not my favorite clip, but it's fine, right? It is reversible, which, thank goodness, if this was not a reversible pocket clip, that would have been a cardinal sin from Sencut because, button locks are very easy for lefties. In fact, I would argue that button locks might even be a little bit better for lefties than righties. Thumb versus index finger. But yeah, how's it go in and out of the pocket? Well, because the aluminum is smooth, no issue at all. It is deep carry. You can get your hand in there and stuff, and it's a fairly lightweight knife for what it is. Aluminum is much lighter than steel. Let's go ahead and get some Yeah, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? The Serene with the birds calling. Oh, it's perfect. It's perfect. I need to go and grab some more cardboard, actually. So let me grab my extra cardboard in my truck. Alrighty, we got a big old cardboard box here. Let's see what's the best way for you guys to see this. We've got addresses on this flap, so we will have addresses anywhere else. Not that I notice. Get rid of that. D2 steel, full flat grind, drop point blade. Love to see it. I love full flat grinds. They're just amazing. You can get to that tip very easily and go a little bit wonky like I did there, if you choose. Nice thin edge. Get a better grip on that. Yeah, no complaints whatsoever. It's excellent, excellent slicer. All right, let's go ahead and do our rope pull. All right, let's do our pushes. See how this turns out. Oh my gosh. Very, very good. I kind of lost my grip on it there at the end. Here, we'll do another one to make up for it. Okay. Maybe that part just doesn't want to cut. But yeah, it did good, especially for a thin edge. Perfect. Flat grinds will give you a lot of stability behind that edge. All right, let's go ahead. Do our pull noodle. Let's get this side. Oh, good heavens. Oh my gosh, did you guys see that? Okay, so the first two, yeah, we went through no problem. Felt very good going through there. And that last one, so thin. So thin. That is gorgeous. That's absolutely beautiful. Love that. Yeah, guys, this knife is a heck of a performer. Real great stuff. All right, let's go ahead and get back to the table. Alrighty, we are back. Let's get into everything I'm liking and not liking about the Sencut Serene. This is a very cool knife. Let's jump right in. I love these blue scales. They're gorgeous. They really make this whole knife look just excellent. I do think, obviously, I think the ProTech Malibu has kind of set a permanent trend for blue scaled button locks. I think that was one of the more common versions of the Malibu was the blue scales. And I think it looks great. It looks great. I'm glad to see a lot more aluminum being used in the Sencut line or in the budget realm in general. Seeing a lot of aluminum and steel handled knives, and I like that. I think it's fantastic. But yeah, this looks great. Love the blue. Contrasts really nicely with the satin finish blade. Zoom in on this aluminum. And since we're talking about it, let's go ahead and talk about the scales. The texture on the scales is nice. It doesn't have that chalky feel that some aluminum can have. It feels pretty smooth. If you don't like smooth scales, it's going to be an issue for you, but they do feel good. We've got some chamfering going on here, as you can see. In the hand, ergonomically, this knife is excellent. It feels so good in my hand. Pretty neutral grip, plenty of handle real estate, and it just works really nicely. Again, very soft. It is a little bit slippery, so if that's something that you're concerned about, it might not be your thing, but I don't find it to be a huge issue. Something I love about button lock, axis lock, back lock, pocket knives that have the locking mechanism, pretty much other than a liner lock or a frame lock, is that you get symmetry in this area. Usually people like to try and cut down some lock bar access on this side so you can get to that lock bar better. And you can sometimes feel it in your hand. When you have everything even, it just feels really nice, and I really appreciate that. And yeah, this handle is fantastic. You can see we start out a little bit thicker here and get narrow, or wider to narrow, my bad. Yeah, that's fantastic. Next thing, the carry. This thing carries really nicely. The aluminum keeps the weight down. It's not a lightweight knife, but it's not heavy either. I find the weight to be really, really nice. The pocket clip works just fine. Sencut standard clip goes in and out of the pocket just great. Slides really, really smoothly on this aluminum. Deep carry, and it's reversible. Thank you, Sencut. If they had put a non-reversible clip on this knife, I think that would have been a huge, huge mistake. Button locks are very easy for lefties to use. In fact, button locks might be easier for lefties than righties. Even in my opinion, as a righty, I think button locks work a little bit better for lefties. So I really appreciate that they made the clip swappable. A couple things to just knock out of the way real quick. These are things that Sencut always does really nicely. T8 hardware, love to see that. Is this pivot free spinning? I'm not sure, actually. I haven't had to adjust the pivot, but other Sencuts I've had, the pivot has worked just fine. You were able to adjust and take them apart easily, so I assume this will be the same way. Something else I forgot to mention with the ergos is this jimping up here is really nice. It extends a good distance along the spine. My thumb lands on it when I'm holding the knife naturally. It's got good texture. I like seeing that. Jimping is a beautiful thing, and I love jimping, and I love seeing companies using jimping, so that's really, really good. Let's talk about that action. It's perfect. It's beautiful, and it has actually gotten better the more I've carried and used this knife. It has been just fantastic. Flipper works great. We've got excellent jimping along flipper tab, well positioned, and yeah, you can light switch it, you can push button it. It does feel like there's a good detent. I know button locks don't have a classic detent, but you've got good access, or not good access, but you've got good tension there, so it does snap out very, very nicely. Thumb studs are also really nice. I love these thumb studs. We've got like this little bit of radius in here. Very comfortable thumb studs. These are the same ones that they used on their Scepter model. Very nice thumb studs. I enjoy them quite a bit. And very comfortable, positioned really well. You can get to them very easily for the thumb flick or the reverse flick. Completely drop shut. Bearings are very smooth. Let's listen to this for a little bit. Okay, that's enough. It sounds fantastic. It sounds really, really cool. I like it. Might be the best budget lock. Budget lock. Oh my gosh. I said that in one of the previous takes of this video too. I don't know why. One of the best button lock actions out there. Sencut and Civivi, they've got it nailed. The fit and finish of this knife is also excellent, as you kind of expect from this company. The lockup is really, really rock solid. Centering is right where you want it to be. Everything works the way it's supposed to. Everything's put together tight. And for the price, I mean, it's just outstanding. All right, let's talk about the blade. D2 steel. I know some people are going to be upset about that. At the price that this knife is coming in at, I really don't see an issue. D2 steel is fine. Sencut does a good job heat treating it. And yeah, at this budget, with all the other luxuries you get with this piece, it's not only fine, I think it's like the good choice, the right choice, right? The blade itself performs really, really well. Full flat grind. It slices like a beast. This thing is amazing. If you're cutting down lots of cardboard, this knife will handle it easily. You have a tip that's easy to get to and also nice and acute. You can do some poking and jabbing tasks. We do have a pretty good distal taper here on the blade. The blade stock is not super thick. Comes down to a very nice thin edge. This thing is just really a fantastic user. And that's what you want out of a pocket knife. I know we're crazy. We like to collect pocket knives. But at the end of the day, they're a tool. And you want them to work the way they're supposed to work. And this one absolutely does. This is a convenient tool. And it will function exactly what you want it to. Alrighty. With that, let's go ahead and go do some negatives. there's not really a whole lot here. I could maybe gripe about the sharpening choil and plunge grind. Let's focus up here. You can see that it's, the plunge ends about there. I mean, it's fine. I wouldn't really complain about it, especially at this price point. It's really good, actually. One thing I will say is this design is kind of generic, kind of basic. It's not doing anything new, right? This is a very knife-shaped knife. If you just saw this in silhouette, it would just be meh, right? I definitely do get that feeling from a lot of Sencut Civivis and things. It's just very, very generic, very simple. But at the same time, right, generic works. Things become generic for a reason. This shape is tried and true. It functions, and it's hard to complain about that, right? It's hard to complain about that. I did get this blue version because, I love blue, and the blue really does help this knife look really, really good to me. I love the aluminum scales, too. I'll be honest, if this was, like, G10 or micarta scales, this knife would still be really cool, but I think I'd pass it on, honestly. It'd feel very bleh. I love the aluminum and stuff, and yeah, I'm going to be keeping this knife. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move to the final conclusions. Final conclusions are, it's great. I know everyone's been saying that since this knife came out. It's amazing, it's fantastic, it's the best thing since sliced bread, and it is a really good knife. And for under $50, it is really, really hard for me to nitpick about anything, and there's really not much to nitpick anyways. This is an incredibly well done knife for a stupidly good price. If you're on the fence about this for some reason, go ahead and get it. You guys know that I am not the biggest fan of button locks. I'm really not, but this one's done right, it works great, and I just, the entire knife comes together in such a good way. I found that I couldn't stop carrying this. Even now, it's very hard for me to put anything else in my pocket. I'm reviewing other things. This knife has actually been sneaking into the pocket more than this one quite often recently, which is really, really surprising me. And I can't wait to do the review of this knife. I've learned some interesting things about myself in the process of carrying that. But yeah, this is a great knife. I also just realized there are fingerprints all over this blade. I am sorry, guys. Fingerprints and like tape marks and cardboard stains. Okay, well, maybe it'll look a little bit prettier for the last few minutes of this review. Or seconds, really, because I don't think I have much more to say. This knife is kind of the definition of simple done right. Again, I can complain all I want about Sencut and Civivi's designs looking derivative and generic and unoriginal, but when they produce a product like this, it's hard for me to get too upset about that because this is a really darn good knife. And I don't really know what sets it apart from everything. I think the combination of the aluminum scales with the well-executed button lock and just how useful and ergonomic it is, the fact that it's a really nice size compared to a lot of smaller things, which I still love this knife, but that's definitely more the size that people are trending to these days. I really, really enjoy it. A lot. I will say the button lock plus metal scales combination, I find that I really like. I have my other pyrite, which isn't within reach right now, but my other pyrite with the steel scales, I love that knife a lot. It feels better to have a button lock with metal scales, in my opinion. I don't know why, but they just feel a lot better to me. They feel, I don't know, it's weird. It's something I can't explain, but I really like it. And I really like this knife. This is an amazing knife. Highly recommend it. One of the best knives you can buy under $50. Hands down, without a doubt, this thing is fantastic. It's a great user. It's a great fidget toy. It looks amazing. Yeah, no matter what kind of knife person you are, there's a place in your collection for this. And that's where I'm going to leave the review. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave it a like, comment below, and subscribe. I've been Gideon, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.